Welcome back, students, to day 8 of the Cyber Rakshak Beginner Proactive Cyber Defense Engineering using Python by Cybervidyapeeth Foundation in association with All India Council of Technical Education and the Computer Emergency Response Team of India. Today, we'll be looking at 3 topics, namely methods. We'll be looking at how to load a CSV file in Python, but we won't be going too deep into it as that is the part of the next chapter of this course. We'll also be looking at the basics of file handling and exception handling, and we'll be closing with 2 projects whose code so one project's code I'll be sharing with you guys so that you can actually go through the code and understand how to build a Python project yourself with all what you've learned. And then the second project, you have to do it yourself. So I'll give you the topic. You have to achieve it yourself. Okay. And it will require a lot of Google searching, a lot of finding resources. So I do expect hard work on your end. Okay, students? I hope I'm clear. For those who did not hear me, please just go back into the stream and listen to the announcement I just made. It's extremely important that you keep track of such announcements. Okay. So with that, let's begin. Okay, so the first thing we are going to spend our time on today is going to be methods. Now, methods are very, very interesting. To show you methods further, I'm going to share my screen. So let me quickly just go ahead and share my screen with you all. I'm going to wait a few more seconds. Please inform all your friends to quickly join the session so we can continue. Before we begin, we have a few announcements. The first announcement is that in the attendance sheet, I can see that there are so many people that are joining in the attendance sheet, but they are not, and I repeat, they're not attending the live sessions. We know who you are, we know your IP address, and we know that some of you guys are using VPNs from Singapore and United States. Please do not think that we are unable to check these things. Okay, that would be your biggest misconception. We know exactly who you are, and we know for a fact that some Pakistanis have also joined our live streams. So I would like to request them to first of all drop off. Don't do something, don't play with fire when you cannot handle fire. That's the first thing. Second thing is, make sure, and I repeat, make sure that if you are filling in the attendance form, you are here for the entire live session. If I see a record which says that you are not, I am going to block you off from this channel, and I'm going to block off your IP address also. And I'm going to inform your ISP to do so as well. You will lose access to YouTube, to the YouTube channel. Am I clear? So I repeat, do not use VPNs. We know exactly who you are. Okay. First thing. Second thing, make sure that if you're filling the attendance form, you are attending the entire live session. If you only do one of the other, you are in trouble. Okay, so let's begin. So the attendance form is there in the chat, and only those people here will fill it. I repeat, and if you cannot drop off after filling it, because I can see live what IP addresses have filled the form also. Okay, so I will know exactly who is filling the form, when they are filling the form, and from what country's IP you are filling the form. Okay, so do not try to fool us. Okay, we know exactly what's going on. Especially people using VPNs in UK, US, Singapore, Netherlands, Germany. I would recommend you guys to stop using VPNs, and there are around 7 Pakistanis here. I would recommend you to drop off before your computer blows up. Okay, with that, let's move on. I repeat, tomorrow is going to be a newcomer session for people who have joined us. I repeat, the people who have joined us after 15th of September and are having issues with basics of Python and want to catch up so that they can also sit for the test of certification for this course, they can attend tomorrow's 12 p.m. I repeat, 12 p.m. session, which will be a repeat session for roughly 2 hours. And we will be going through all the concepts that have been taught yet, albeit a little faster because 2 hours is not enough time. So I'll be going through the concepts and giving you all the right materials to catch up to it. Okay, so keep that in mind, please. Tomorrow at 12 p.m. I repeat, tomorrow at 12 p.m. we'll be having a session for all the newcomers. More information will be shared to you on Telegram. Yes, students, you can join for revision as well. Okay, students, so let's begin. Okay, we'll be discussing what a method is first. I'll be showing you a PPT as well. Okay, so let me switch to the PPT first, and then I'll be coming back and showing you the code. So let me start up the PPT, quickly go through and just take you directly to the PPT. Okay, so we'll be looking at some specific methods today. So example of some methods is going to be the strip method. Okay, so for example, if I go to the code here and I show you some string methods, which are the most common methods you would see in Python. We have the 3 most common ones, which is the lower, the upper, right? And then the third function that you have is the title. Okay, so you'll see the difference between them. So these are some 3 case conversion ones. So here's an example. Say that there is some text and you can say Cybervidyapeeth is amazing, right? and I'm going to put some exclamation marks. I'm going to go down. Now say I want to play with this text. So I'm going to do a print statement, and I'm going to take text, and then I'm going to use the dot operator. Now, this is your first formal introduction to the dot operator. I haven't actually taught the dot operator. So the dot operator lets you apply properties or methods on data structures. Okay. So here's an example. We can do text, which we know that is a variable or a box that stores the message. Cybervidyapeeth is amazing. I'll put a dot, and I'll get so many options. So the option that I want to put right now is upper. So I'm going to do upper. You have to have opening and closing brackets even with methods, because methods are also a type of functions, and that is why when you're calling a function or a method, you need to make sure that you have opening closing braces immediately after them. Yeah? Then I'm going to save them and run this program. And here we can see the output. So if I show you guys the output, there we go. Cybervidyapeeth is amazing. Now you can see what upper does is it takes all the characters in the string, right? And it makes them capital. Interesting, right? So let's see what would happen if we played around with the other two functions. So if we go down, right, and we use the lower method instead, and I save and run the program, we see that everything is now small. Now again, if I take the same code, right, so this should be pretty simple to understand, right? I'm just copy pasting at this point. So I'm going to use title, and title is pretty interesting, and it's actually used by a lot of software. So I'm going to print, and you will see that Cybervidyapeeth is amazing, all capital. Cybervidyapeeth is amazing, all small, and Cybervidyapeeth is amazing, the first letter of each word capital. You realize that? So that is title. This is lower, and this is upper. Okay, these are the three case conversion methods that you will find. Okay, there are some other interesting ones. Okay, so for example, there is replace, there is logical ones like is lower. So let me show you some examples. Say if text dot is lower, I'm going to print message is in lower. Okay, now this code is never going to run. I know that for a fact. So I'm going to add an else statement which just says print the else block. Okay, I'm going to save that. I'm going to run it, and notice the else block runs because the is lower actually returns true or false. Notice that if I hover over it, VS Code tells me that it returns a bool value or a boolean value, which can only be true or false, that we have studied. So if I take this string right here, which is a all small string, right, and I replace Cybervidyapeeth Amazing with an all small string, save and run, then notice that the function returns true right here. So this becomes true because the function checks if whatever stored inside text is small or not, in a small case or lower case or not. If it is, we print a message, else we run the else block. So before we had the else block, now we are able to print this logic. So these are some functions that you can apply to strings. Some other reputed functions that I'm not going into, but you should know about, include the format function, the is decimal function, the is digit function, is numeric function, which checks if the characters are numeric characters or not. So this is interesting actually. Let's look at this. So is numeric is pretty interesting because now it's certain that the else block is going to run. And if I add just a few numbers, nothing should change, technically speaking. Yes, nothing should change. So the entire string needs to be numeric in nature. So if I remove this and I put a number, say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, that's a 10-digit number. I'm going to save that and run that. Now you will get the message of print. So I'm going to say message is in numeric form, right? So this way you can check if your message is in numeric form or not. And as you can clearly see, the message is in numeric form. Okay, so that makes it pretty darn clear that okay, this function can do this. You can have other kinds of functions like is title, is upper. You can use make, which actually gives you concatenated strings as an output. You can use strip is strip command, make trans command. There's also the index and the r index and r find methods. So there are multiple methods, and what I recommend is there's usually 100 of them, okay, and I can't show you all of them. So what you want to do is you want to go to the Python documentation and you want to look for things you can apply on strings. Okay, that's how you will learn. So always use Google as a reference to find out these things, because and when you are coding, make sure that you are looking at the hints given to you by Visual Studio. This makes your job as a programmer a lot easier. This is one of the reasons we recommend Visual Studio to beginners as well as advanced users alike, because half the programming is referencing the documentation properly. If you know how to look into the documentation, you will be able to write code super duper fast. You won't have to ever worry about remembering anything, because programming is not about remembering, it's about building logics. And if you can build logical blocks, all this calling function is just child's play. You can just go to the documentation, pick out the function you want, throw it into your code, and it's going to work perfectly fine. Okay, so that's something you need to keep in mind. So with that, I am going to look at some list methods now. So let me show you some list methods. And I'm also going to show you a dictionary method or two. So let's create a list. Let's say we are going to create a list 2 to 2, which will be equal to say fruits, veggies, fast food, okay, and say Korean food. Okay, so we now have 3-4 types of things in a list. So the list is there. Perfect. So now that the list is there, I'm going to clean my terminal for you all. Yes, perfect. Now I want to append or add something to the list. So I would do list2 dot, then I would use the append method and add something to the list. So what do I want to append to this list? I want to append Chinese food. Okay, you know what? I don't like China. What about American food? Now that sounds interesting. So American food, right? So there you go, right? Now what's going to happen is when you print the list, the method is going to run and it's going to append or add it towards the end of the list. So when I run this, notice that towards the end of the list, we have American food added in. There are other things you can do. For example, you can use the insert method. So you can say something like say list 2 dot insert, and you can give it a path. Say I want to insert it at the second position, and I want to insert say idli. I know there's a word for idli, but okay, bear with me here. So here's just a term, right? And I'm trying to insert it into the list in second position. So 0, 1, and 2. So where fast food is, there should be idli now. So now I'm going to take the print statement again, paste that in again, save that in again, and just print it up. And notice that just before fast food, we have idli now, and we also have American food because the program ran again and recreated the list. Okay. So the other functions that the other methods, sorry, that you can look at are extends. Okay. So what this can do is say that you have a list 333, okay, which only has say paneer, okay, something like that. Just one thing. So now what you can do is you can actually do list 333 dot extend. So this is the next function, which lets you append things, list 222. Okay. Then if you print list 333, here's what you get. List 333 will first take its own value and then it will append or extend itself to list 2, the previous list. Okay, so that's one way of doing it. The other interesting thing you can do is you can create a num underscore list, which will be just a bunch of numbers. So let me do that, and definitely not that, this, right, 0. So now all the decimal numbers are there, right? All these are all the numbers our number system. So now say that I want to find out what is the sum of everything stored inside. Okay, now so you have to do it like so, because you have to wrap it up. So you can do num list, right? So what's the sum of all the numbers here? So when I run this, notice we get 45. So that means that when you add all these numbers together, you actually get 45. To prove this, I'm going to add 5 into in here, so that we get pure 15 next time we run it. And here we go, we get 50. So that means that, you know, this list is working perfectly fine, and we're able to use the sum method. The other method that I want to go into is the length method. Okay, so to play around with the length method, I'm going to just show you a simple thing, because I've already shown you the length method before, which is the len method. So I'm going to do num list print, and they should print the length, which is 11 characters. Yes, because I added a one additional. So normally decimal system has 10 characters. I added 5 into that, so that's 11 characters. Perfect. So length shows you length. That also works perfectly fine. Then let's look out the count function. So the count function runs like num list dot count, like so. Just save and run this. And okay, sorry, yes, I have to give it what to count. So I want to count 1, and if I run it, it tells me 1 comes 1. If I type in 5, which I know for a fact is 2 times in the list, you know, once in normal counting and then once towards the end, it tells me that there are 2 5s in the list. So after that, the next one that you want to play around with is the index one. Okay, so I'm going a little fast. There's a reason for this, because all this information is available online for free on Python website. You just need to open docs.python.org. So that's why, you know, I'm referencing the docs and I'm going a little fast. All of this should be pretty easy, though. This looks self-explanatory, if I'm being very honest. I'm demonstrating you how methods work. Okay, so here's another one, which is the index, which you can do by doing num list dot index. Sorry, index. Yep. And for index, let's give 2. Let's save and run. And what's going to happen is whatever number we have, you know, at for 2 at you know, index 2, we get it. So if I hover towards index, we see raises first index of value, raises value, error if value is not present. So say that you put something like 11 in here. 11 does not exist in the list, so it gives an error. Okay, that's a very simple example of what I was talking about. So I'm going to just put 1 in here and save and run, because I know that's not going to give me an error. So that's done as well. So we saw index as well. Now look at some of my favorite ones that I use in programming, which is min and max. Okay, so for min and max, you have list, sorry, num list dot. Okay, so if it's going to pick, then I'm going to just give it the entire list altogether. Okay, perfect. So there you go. When I print it, it's going to tell me that 0 is the most, I repeat, 0 is the most smallest number here. Now if I were to add -6 and run the program again, it will tell me that -6 is the smallest program in this smallest number in this list. Okay, so it's finding the smallest. Now say that I want to find out the maximum. So then I can do num list, okay, and just find the maximum, and I'm going to add a huge number in here, somewhere in here between. So I'm going to add like 10,000 in here and save that and run that, and there you go. It was able to find out the maximum number for us and print it as well. So this can be a lot of things, right? Imagine you have a program which searches through all the marks of a student in a university, and you want to find out who were the person who scored the maximum. A simple one-line command can find that. You don't even need to run some SQL query or whatever. Okay, it can all be done in Python. No requirement for a database. So these capabilities are what make Python so easy to work with for everybody. Okay. So the next one that I want to show you is the opposite of append and insert, which is pop. So that you can do by doing num list. Okay. And I'm going to do a dot pop. I'm not going to give it an index, even though it does support one. And I'm going to print that out. Run that. Perfect. So it's going to pop -6. So if I print, if my logic is correct, yeah. So you can see that it removed -6, and now our list is just this without the -6. So if you guys remember, -6 is supposed to be towards the end. So we popped it. Pop means to remove from the end. You can also pop from a location by giving the index of the said location. Okay, so you can also pop by giving the index of the location here, right here. So you can see that by VS Code tells you that removes and return item at index. If you don't give an index, it removes from the end. Okay, that's how this works. So there's that. Let's move on. The next thing is the delete. Okay, so the delete works like so. You can just do del, which is a keyword in Python, by the way, num list, and I want to give 0, 1, 2, 3. Let's remove index 3, which would be 4 as a number, and then just print the num list again. Okay, so I'm going to save that, and notice that before we had 4, but now we don't have 4. We deleted 4 from the middle. Okay, so the delete works like so. There's also a remove, which again works in a similar manner but is more memory optimized. The way it works is you do num list dot remove, and then you give it again the third index. So it will remove the thing from the third index, and then I'm going to print the num list again, save that again, run it again, and here you can see again that this time we removed 3, right? So 3 is actually position here. I'm pretty sure it's not the index. Yeah, remove the first occurrence of value. Okay, so it's going to remove the first occurrence of the value. So remove is removing occurrences. So you can see that there's subtle differences between every function, even though some things might do the same thing or similar thing. When you start to implement them, you realize that they're actually doing very different things. Okay, so the next function that I want to look at. Okay, I think, wow, I literally finished every single function for strings in the documentation. There's no other functions in the documentation. Damn. So there we go. So you can clearly see that we have gone through these functions. So I'm going to quickly remind you guys. We looked at the append function, which adds things towards the end. We looked at insert, that lets you specify where you want to add your string. We looked at extend, which lets you combine two lists together. We looked at the sum, which lets you add numeric lists. We looked at length, which lets you calculate the number of objects inside a list, no matter what data type they are. We looked at count, which lets you count the number of occurrences of a certain value, may it be string or a number. We looked at index, which returns the first index of the value. We looked at min and max, which show you the minimum and the maximum value inside a list. We looked at pop, which lets you pop something from an index, or if you don't provide an index, it will just pop up the last value. We looked at the del keyword in in Python, which is a special keyword that lets you delete things from the list in a syntax similar to this. Then we looked at remove, and we found out that remove removes the first occurrence of a value. So the first time 3 pops up in your list, it's going to just remove it, but the second time no. So say that I had 3 again here, for example, and I save and run it, the second 3 is there, but the first 3 has disappeared. Okay, so remember that only first occurrences are removed by the remove function. You have to run remove recursively if you want to remove it again and again. By recursively, I mean that you have to run it again and sorry, yeah, so you have to run it in repeat, yeah, like so. Okay, so you have to run it again and again and again, like so. Okay, so that I think clearly explains what are the lists. So the code has been shared, so you can actually go to the Telegram and have a look at the code, copy, paste it in your own editor and try out, play around with all these functions. Okay, so now I'm going to remove them, so they should be now visible to all of you. The imports were not done by me, Mr. Godse. I did not do the imports, okay? Because when I was typing, I made some typing errors. VS Code is so smart, sometimes it's too smarter. Okay, so it thought I wanted to do those things, and it added them on auto magically. Another reason I tell people to prefer using VS Code. Okay, so with that, let's keep in mind about that. Okay, so yes, some topics I had taught, but I'm going over again, because this was a complete cover up of methods that you need to know for the future classes with Hacker Jeffrey, who will be taking you into the world of data science, machine learning, AI, and business intelligence. Okay, as well as cyber data science. So he's going to be touching upon all those topics, and I want you guys to be ready for what he's going to bring. Hence, I'm telling you this code and sharing you all this code. Now that you know some idea about methods, let's look at modules. So modules are other people's packaged code that you can run. Okay, so the way you import a module is by using the command import. So you say import math. Now all the code in the standard math library is available, and the math library has so much methods and functions and code written by other people that you can use. It lets you do mathematical things. So for example, say a equals 2, right? And you can do absolute value. So if you have 2.22222, you can bring the value, truncate it to 2.000, or you can just make it 2. So math lets you do something like that. There is other ways to import. Okay, just give me a second. Okay, so let's go ahead. So another way you can import is by doing from the name of a package, say Django. Django is a package import, and then you can import something, right? This is another way you can import. Now I'm getting this error because this could not be resolved because this package does not exist on my system. So instead, just give me a second. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to import from math, import remainder. Yeah. So this is another way you can import, okay? And you can also use the term as, so you can say RE. So this is actually a legitimate Python program and it will run without any errors. So here's what you do, okay? You first of all have to make sure that you are importing from a library and you're importing a certain method or function, and you can actually give it an alias or a name. So now whenever I type REE, okay, open close, it's actually going to connect to the remainder function automatically. These are called aliases in Python. What are these called? Aliases in Python, okay? These are function and method aliases. So this is how you'll see a lot of hackers write their code, because this statement, even though this is fantastic statement and it will give you access to all the code inside the math library and module which has been written by somebody else, it is still, and I repeat, it is still, okay, going to be very, very memory inefficient, because you are loading thousands and thousands of lines of code that somebody else has written that you don't even need in your program. Why add 1,000 things when you just need one thing and you'll use it as a specific name, right? So this statement adds a lot of stuff. This does not. Another way to do this is you can do from math import star. This also does something very similar to the statement on top, okay? It basically imports everything. So many times some modules might require you to do this instead of doing import something, and only then they'll give you access to certain functions. So if you want everything inside a library or a module, you might want to try this, okay? So I'm not going to go much deeper into modules, as Jeffrey will be going very deep into NumPy, pandas, and extremely deep, and then even deeper, Rocky will be going even deeper than that. So I don't want the guys to get confused right now about that, okay? So I hope that till here it's clear to everyone, okay? That's the first thing you need to know. So the next thing regarding our syllabus that I'm going to cover is going to be, okay, so I'm not going to cover network programming. So if you can see the syllabus, in the syllabus we have exception handling, file handling, network programming, scraping, and then working with images and PDFs as well as CSV files. These 4 topics I'm not going to touch. Why I'm saying 4 topics I'm not going to touch, instead I'm going to pass the mic from tomorrow to Jeffrey, is because the network programming part actually only has 2 programs, very simple programs that you can understand in 2 minutes. That will be taught by Rocky. So I want the network programming introduction to be given by the hacker Rocky, okay? Because he will be going very deep into network programming. You will be building around 6 or 7 tools with him, live tools, scanners, banner grabbing tool, port scanner, this, that. So he will be showing you live network programming, and he has made the material to go much deep into network programming and explain it to you. Hence, I'm not going into it right now. File handling and exception handling will be taught by Jeffrey. Of course, dealing with CSV files and pandas is also something Jeffrey is going to be teaching using NumPy and pandas. So you don't have to worry about that at all. You'll be taught that pretty soon. And for images, he'll show you some interesting TensorFlow code. So with that, I feel, a major part of the beginner level Python is over. You now have the fundamentals required to actually start writing logic. So what I'm going to do is tomorrow, after the revision session, there's going to be a logic test, okay? I'm going to give you guys 2 programs to do live that you won't find online. You're going to have to code those programs from scratch. I repeat, you're going to have to code those programs from scratch. Okay? Repeat, you have to code those programs from scratch and give them to me within 24 hours. I repeat, within 24 hours. This will be a test of your logic and your your skills, your coding skills, and all the things that I've taught you. You have to mix it all together, because if you don't, you're going to feel a little lost with Jeffrey. Now, of course, Jeffrey is going to take it slow, because data science is a tough concept. You're going to have to learn statistics, you're going to have to learn mathematics, and then we'll take you into data science and show you business intelligence and how business intelligence is different from cyber data science, right? So today, I'm actually still making the question paper, so you're going to have to give me till tomorrow for me to take a test on it. Okay, so I hope that till that point it is clear to everybody. That should be the first thing. The second thing to note is many people have been asking their doubts to editor bots. Yes, please send all your doubts to editor bot on Telegram. Okay, it is okay to send your doubts to editor bot on Telegram. Okay, I also repeat again, please, people who are using a VPN to join our session, stop immediately. We know who you are. You do not want to join a session using VPN. Okay, I'm going to give you guys a 2-minute break, and then I'm going to be back.
Cybervidyapeeth Foundation, or Cyberversity, has been up with focus on education, research, and training on advanced cyber defense. Cyberversity is committed to creating 1,000,000 cyber rakshaks over the next 5 years. The mission of Cybervidyapeeth, or Cyberversity, is to provide education, training, and research in the areas of advanced cyber defense. We shall create a significantly large talent pool in cyber defense for cyber resilient Bharat. Cybervidyapeeth Foundation, or Cyberversity, has been up with focus on education, research, and defense. Cyberversity is committed to creating 1,000,000 cyber rakshaks over the next 5 years. The mission of Cybervidyapeeth, or Cyberversity, is to provide education, training, and research in the areas of advanced cyber defense. We shall create a significantly large talent pool in cyber defense for cyber resilient Bharat. Cybervidyapeeth Foundation, or Cyberversity, has been up with focus on education, research, and training on advanced cyber defense. Cyberversity is committed to creating 1,000,000 cyber rakshaks over the next 5 years. The mission of Cybervidyapeeth, or Cyberversity, is to provide education, training, and research in the areas of advanced cyber defense. We shall create a significantly large talent pool in cyber defense for cyber resilient Bharat. Cybervidyapeeth Foundation, or Cyberversity, has been up with focus on education, research, and training on advanced cyber defense. Cyberversity is committed to creating 1,000,000 cyber rakshaks over the next 5 years. The mission of Cybervidyapeeth, or Cyberversity, is to provide education, training, and research in the areas of advanced cyber defense. We shall create a significantly large talent pool in cyber defense for cyber resilient Bharat. Cybervidyapeeth Foundation, or Cyberversity, has been up with focus on education, research, and training on advanced cyber defense. Cyberversity is committed to creating 1,000,000 cyber rakshaks over the next 5 years. The mission of Cybervidyapeeth, or Cyberversity, is to provide education, training, and research in the areas of advanced cyber defense. We shall create a significantly large talent pool in cyber defense for cyber resilient Bharat. Cybervidyapeeth Foundation, or Cyberversity, has been up with focus on education, research, and training on advanced cyber defense. Cyberversity is committed to creating 1,000,000 cyber rakshaks over the next 5 years. The mission of Cybervidyapeeth, or Cyberversity, is to provide education, training, and research in the areas of advanced cyber defense. We shall create a significantly large talent pool in cyber defense for cyber resilient Bharat. Cybervidyapeeth Foundation, or Cyberversity, has been up with focus on education, research, and training on advanced cyber defense. Cyberversity is committed to creating 1,000,000 cyber rakshaks over the next 5 years. The mission of Cybervidyapeeth, or Cyberversity, is to provide education, training, and research in the areas of advanced cyber defense. We shall create a significantly large talent pool in cyber defense for cyber resilient Bharat. Cybervidyapeeth Foundation, or Cyberversity, has been up with focus on education, research, and training on advanced cyber defense. Cyberversity is committed to creating 1,000,000 cyber rakshaks over the next 5 years. The mission of Cybervidyapeeth, or Cyberversity, is to provide education, training, and research in the areas of advanced cyber defense. We shall create a significantly large talent pool in cyber defense for cyber resilient Bharat. Cybervidyapeeth Foundation, or Cyberversity, has been up with focus on education, research, and training on advanced cyber defense. Cyberversity is committed to creating 1,000,000 cyber rakshaks over the next 5 years. The mission of Cybervidyapeeth, or Cyberversity, is to provide education, training, and research in the areas of advanced cyber defense. We shall create a significantly large talent pool in cyber defense for cyber resilient Bharat. Cybervidyapeeth Foundation, or Cyberversity, has been up with focus on education, research, and training on advanced cyber defense. Cyberversity is committed to creating 1 million cyber rakshaks over the next 5 years. The mission of Cybervidyapeeth or Cyberversity is to provide education, training, and research in the areas of advanced cyber defense. We shall create a significantly large talent pool in cyber defense for cyber resilient Bharat. Cybervidyapeeth Foundation or Cyberversity has been up with focus on education, research, and training on advanced cyber defense. Cyberversity is committed to creating 1 million cyber rakshaks over the next 5 years. The mission of Cybervidyapeeth or Cyberversity is to provide education, training, and research in the areas of advanced cyber defense. We shall create a significantly large talent pool in cyber defense for cyber resilient Bharat. Cybervidyapeeth Foundation or Cyberversity has been up with focus on education, research, and training on advanced cyber defense. Cyberversity is committed to creating 1 million cyber rakshaks over the next 5 years. The mission of Cybervidyapeeth or Cyberversity is to provide education, training, and research in the areas of advanced cyber defense. We shall create a significantly large talent pool in cyber defense for cyber resilient Bharat. Cybervidyapeeth Foundation or Cyberversity has been up with focus on education, research, and training on advanced cyber defense. Cyberversity is committed to creating 1 million cyber rakshaks over the next 5 years. The mission of Cybervidyapeeth or Cyberversity is to provide education, training, and research in the areas of advanced cyber defense. We shall create a significantly large talent pool in cyber defense for cyber resilient Bharat. Cybervidyapeeth Foundation or Cyberversity has been up with focus on education, research, and
Welcome back, students. We are going to start again, okay, from where we left off. So we have discussed about methods, right? And I told you that there's going to be a few topics. So now I'm going to introduce you to your first project that you'll be implementing, okay, which is creating an automated Amazon price tracker. I repeat, you're supposed to create an automated Amazon price tracker. I know that this project does require a little bit, just actually 2 lines of knowledge of web scraping, which is something I am not teaching you intentionally. Absolutely intentionally, I'm not teaching you, okay? So keep that in mind, please. That you are supposed to do the research and figure out how to implement this feature. I repeat, the feature is, and I quote, I repeat, the feature is, and I quote, you are to implement a bot in Python or a program in Python. Don't think of it as a bot, okay? A program in Python that can automatically generate Amazon price. So here's what I'm talking about. I'm going to pin this in chat. Here's your project. You have to create an automated Amazon price tracker for any one product. You don't have to do it for entire Amazon, okay? Any one small page also in Amazon.in, you track the price and you update it after every 5 minutes. That's all you have to do. This is your first project. Second thing is something that I am going to show you, okay? I'm going to walk you through it tomorrow, which is going to be automating job applications on LinkedIn, how you can do that. So that is for tomorrow, okay? I hope you are clear with this assignment. The first assignment, the project that you have to do is to create an automated price tracker for any one product on Amazon.in, okay? And this project you can take around 1 week to do it, which is 7 days, okay? So you have 7 days to complete this project, okay? During which you will also be attending classes, normal classes of Jeffrey, okay? So it's going to be project on the side and then listening to Jeffrey and learning from Jeffrey also as well. The project is you have to create an automated Amazon price tracker Basically just take a single link from Amazon and track the price. So let me show you an example. Say that I open Amazon. So I'm going to go to Amazon and share my screen so that it's visible to all of you. So I'm going to share my screen, and here you can see Amazon. And on Amazon, say that I like this laptop, right? This is a Predator laptop. So I click on that laptop, and I just select any one laptop, doesn't really matter, and say that I know for a fact that this price is basically the jacked up price, and the price will go down to something like 52,000 if I wait for this product. So if that is the case, I want you to build a Python tool that can download the entire HTML of this page, one, store it inside a string, then go ahead and search inside the string to find out where this MRP with deal, you save, this exclusive price prime, this option is. Check what the latest price is right now. If it is less than a certain number, it should print that to the screen. That's it. And this can be done by researching enough. You have enough knowledge, as a matter of fact. You might not think you do not do, but you do. The things that you've been taught can actually be used to implement this. And this code is actually very, very easy. It's less than I think 12 lines of code. So it's actually very easy to implement. Okay. So that's the first thing you need to know. The second thing you need to note is, make sure, and I repeat, make sure that you join today's session, because today somebody special will be joining us. Unfortunately, today nobody could join us, but tomorrow someone special will again be joining us, and I'll be showing you one other project similar to this but a slightly different, which is automating creating applying for jobs on LinkedIn. So you can apply for say 100 jobs using your Python code. Okay, so we'll be doing these two projects by tomorrow, and then I'll be handing over the session, and you'll be having a small introductory session with Zephyr. I'm not going to tell you what library you need to use. Okay, you have to figure it out. The project has been given to you. You can always Google, you can research Python libraries, you can go to the documentation. See, this is part of the challenge, hence I am giving you 7 days to do it. 7 days is a lot of time to complete a project. So please remember, I repeat, please remember, you have 7 days to make the project. Do your research of what library is useful here and implement the library. Extract the price value from the website URL and check it against an if else condition, and then print an output. If you're able to do this much, then you're going to be in a very, very good state, I feel, for what fun stuff Jeffrey has for you, because Jeffrey is going to take you to a whole other level. And then Rocky and me together, we are going to give you so much more. We're going to teach you how to create your own reverse shell, your own botnet, so many interesting things. Okay, so I look forward to this. Don't worry about the mode of submission, just write the code. Okay, once the code is working, submission does not matter. I will sit in a Google Meet and watch the you run the code also. That is also fine for me, but don't worry about how to submit, what to submit. Work on the project first. Once you complete the project, only and only then you can say that, okay, now understood what's going on. Okay, so that's the first thing. So with that in mind, some people are asking, when is the CISO of BSc coming in? Yeah, soon. Don't worry, today it was delayed, but soon, yes, we will be having him on one of these days with us. Definitely, that's confirmed. Many people were still questioning editor bot about the price for our paid courses. I'll say it once again, the Cyber Rakshak Acharya, also known as the faculty development program, is costing 55,000 only, and the PGDCD course, also known as the post-graduation diploma in cyber defense, costs 80,000 rupees for 1 year full-fledged university diploma degree that you can do while doing other courses as well. Because since the new education policy of India 2020, you are able to do 2 courses, degrees or diplomas together at once. Okay, all you need to make sure is that you have cleared your class 12th. Okay, and I recommend, highly recommend, that the live sessions, you talk to your friends and you tell them to take out time to view the live sessions even after the live has ended. Okay, what was the PM Yojana mentioned for financial aid? Yes, I'm coming to that. So a document will soon be shared by tomorrow, which will have all the information about, what discounts you will get if you are an early bird and applying early, how to apply, how to get a loan, an instant loan of 80,000 or even 55,000, and set yourself on a career to cyber defense. So we have everything ready. The document is ready, only the design is going on. You'll get the document soon. You'll be able to look at the document, go through it. You'll be getting all the links, the information to apply for loan in all the top 23 banks in the country. Okay, so you will be able to go ahead and apply for an instant loan without a guarantor, without anything. Just you say, I want to do education, I'm an Indian citizen, and you'll get 80,000. Tomorrow we'll be looking at a project and we'll be meeting someone special, a special guest. Okay, and that's it for tomorrow. After that, there'll be an introduction of Zephyr tomorrow, and from a day after that, Jeffrey will take over. There is no minimum age for our courses. You just need to have cleared class 12. That's it. In some cases, we are allowing people who have not cleared class 12, but then you have to talk to the editor board separately, okay, regarding that. So we can guide you in the correct project. 7 days from now, you have to submit 7 days from now. Class timings will always be the same. They are not going to change. 6. If you have any more doubts regarding any of our paid courses, or any of our free courses, or the material that I'm teaching here, or that will be taught in the paid course, feel free to message editor bot. Okay, so with that, I'm going to end today's session here. You have today learned about all the different methods there are when you're dealing with integers, float numbers, or strings. Okay, dhanyawad, jai hind.